a video a little while ago where Spain got overran by migrants. The same footage we watched a few years ago of the migrants coming into this country. The same thing is happening in Europe, but in this case, Spain. And it came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. And what they're saying in the media is that Spain and a lot of portions or parts of Europe, they have a socialist leftist ideology, kind of what the left is doing in this country. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris was president? Could you imagine the migrants who would have poured into this country for leftist Democratic votes? Could you imagine the amount of black people, the amount of Hispanic people and white people who would have had to use, or the system would have had to use their taxes to support people who shouldn't even be in the country? Could you imagine? I know you don't like to hear this, but it's the absolute truth. Shalom, Don. Shalom, brother. Friday, brothers and sisters. Happy Friday. The weeks go so goddamn fast. It's not funny, man. So fast. This is why it's important to hold on. It's very important to hold on, and not just to hold on, but to be focused, because the Most High got things going, man. He got things going quick. But let me just get right to this, because I got to go back to work. But check this out. I found this very, very interesting, because this is where this country is heading. Once the Democrats get back into power, and I believe they will, this is what you have to look forward to. The whole world is out of control, man. We can't keep kicking the can. We have to understand that the whole world is just out of control. And thanks to the Most High and the prophecies and the judgment, this is something we can enjoy. This is something we can watch and be comfortable. I'm not even going to say enjoy. I'm going to say this is something, or the things we see happening in the world is something we can sit back and for once relax in the spirit of the Most High. Not in the fear of not being able to pay bills, not in the fear of being kicked out of homes or being put in shelters. I'm not saying those things don't exist among us, but when you trust in the Most High and you walk in a righteous spirit, you have good things to look to. You have good things forward to, and there's hope. The Most High is showing us there's hope. Check this out. This is very crazy. Check it out.
At least 18 people have died. At least 50,000 migrants poured across the Moroccan border into the Spanish territory of Ceuta in just 4 hours. Look at these scenes. It's forcing Spain's socialist government launched a mass amnesty program for illegal.
Oh, wow. I might have some streaming problems. I don't know. I should have put in my cable. So I don't know what's going on. Something going on. But the point is, look at this melee. Look at this, man. And they're saying that a lot of these migrants pouring in are criminals. They're saying a lot of them are criminals. Not Spain, but Morocco, where a lot of them are coming from, emptied out its prisons and sent them to Spain. And this migration of 80,000 people plus is going to make its way all throughout Europe. Could you imagine if various countries did that in this country? And I'm not knocking the brothers and sisters. Let me put my face up for this, because I got this one brother. He's just insane. I'm not saying that I'm against my people. I'm not against my people. But when it comes to people who are my people in this country eating and benefiting off of Pharaoh's table, I'm going to go with who's here first. You understand? Especially if people are being brought into this country for political reasons. That's all I am saying. You understand? That's what I'm saying. And this is not good. This is not good, especially in different parts of Europe. This is not good. This is going to break down their system even faster, and it's going to usher in the prophecies of God right before our eyes. Let me see if this works now.
migrants. Our next guest, this is what America could face if Biden-era progressives return to power. Remember, the DSA says no borders. Former Margaret Thatcher advisor Niall Gardner joins us now. Niall, your thoughts as you see the swarms go over the wall, go through the so-called turnstile and into Spain.
Good morning, Brian. This is an absolute disaster for Europe, and it's the direct result of open borders.
Look at them go, man. Look at them go. These aren't our people, I don't believe either. These aren't our people. These are heathen. But I'm simply trying to show you people are hungry. People are hungry, and these are all men. The majority of these are young men. They could be prisoners. They could be drug addicts. It could be drug dealers. I don't know, but they are all young men, but they have to be fed. How are they going to be fed? How are they going to eat? They're going to eat off of the citizens who are in these European countries. That's how they're going to get fed. What about medical? How are they going to be taken care of if they get sick or they need medical? Off of the dime of the taxpayers in the various countries. The same thing in this country. The same thing in this country. And like I said, I'm no Trump supporter. I just like getting under the skin of a lot of you who are Trump haters. Some of you are stricken with the sickness TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. A lot of you got Trump derangement syndrome. So I'm going to benefit off of that because you're stupid. A lot of you are stupid. I understand what Trump is doing. He's fighting for the survival of the white establishment. That's what he's doing. He knows if what you're seeing on this screen happens in America, it's a done deal. He knows that. It's like if you're a thief and you're the devil and you stole $100 million and you use that $100 million to support your ideologies, to support your politics, to support your religions, to support your politics. If others start to eat off of that $100 million that you stole, how long can you survive? How long can you really survive? It makes no sense to be this goddamn stupid, man. It makes no sense. But you got people who believe in the system, that believe it's going to bounce back, that believe that these are honest people, and these are not honest people. These are evil, wicked people that run the system, and they've been doing this dirt for so long that now God is judging them. God is judging them, brothers. God is judging them, sisters. And to the weak-minded, to those who are outside of the Most High, this looks like a frightening thing. This looks frightening. Check out what the Lord says here. This is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Those of you who want to look it up yourselves later on. The 26th chapter and the 5th verse. It says, there be three things that my heart feareth. So this is wisdom. Check this out, this wisdom. Three things that the brother feareth. And it says, And for the fourth, I was sore afraid, meaning extremely afraid. The slander of a city. So imagine a big city that's been slandered and been lied upon and that's been disrespected. The gathering together, the gathering together of an unruly multitude. An unruly multitude, and that's what you see here. You see in this video footage of an unruly multitude coming into this country to eat, and to try to establish a new life. That's what you see there, an unruly multitude.
Crazy policies, frankly, including a mass amnesty for illegal immigrants in Spain, and this is the result. At least 50,000 illegal migrants crossed into Spanish territory yesterday. Many more will cross in today.
You know more is coming. You know more is coming. Same thing was going down in America not too long ago. Now they got the borders blocked up. They got the soldiers out there. Not even one is coming through now. They're trying to dig tunnels under the border and trying to come in through the sewer lines and so on and so forth. But they got the border pretty locked down. But could you imagine this happening in this country all over again? You saw it, those of you who live in New York. You saw all the migrants, all these migrants in Manhattan, all these migrants that took over the goddamn Bronx. Then you had the gangs all over the Bronx. This is absolutely crazy, but hey, people are trying to survive. People are doing what they deem is the best choice, rather than living in poverty. And more is coming. More is coming.
Some estimates indicate that the official figure is far too low. There could be perhaps 80 to 100,000 migrants who've crossed into Spanish territory. And this is a vision of America's future if the socialists, the communists take power in the United States in 2029.
They're right. They're right. Now, I don't care how you feel about goddamn Trump. You know in your spirit, you don't want to see this in America. You don't want to see this in America. Shalom, Nate. Shalom, brother. We are men and women that love the Most High, and we love our people, but we are going to take care of our people who are here already first. We got to eat too. We got to clothe our families too. We got to live in safe communities too. So let's say hypothetically a lot of pervs cross the border. Let's say hypothetically a lot of gang members cross the border. Would you really want that as a neighbor, even though they are part of the 12 tribes? Well, because they're making that up. They're making that stuff up. Some of the stuff is being made up, but some of the stuff is not being made up. Some of the stuff is not being made up. So the same thing is happening. What you're seeing happening in this video can very well start all over again in this country. And it's all political, and it's all designed and manufactured to hold on to power. That's what it is. It's all designed to hold on to power and to get votes. Meanwhile, they can't feed these people. They're too busy stealing. I'm talking about the leadership. The leadership has always been stealing. So whose dime is this going to be on? It's going to be on your dime until the country completely collapses. I'm talking about America, that is. Look, they happy as hell, man. They're happy as hell. Look at them. You know the white man, he's scared as F, man, because these people are going to be near their daughters. I'm talking about in Europe. Near their daughters. They can't stop this. The system is falling apart. Just like ancient Rome fell apart, America is falling apart, and the world is falling apart. The world is falling apart. President Trump has long warned Europe what would happen if they continue to implement far-left globalist policies, including enabling mass migration. What they have stolen, the land, what they have stolen, the resources, what they have stolen, the power, they try to keep grips on what they have stolen. They don't talk about it because they stole it a long time ago. So in your minds, it's the norm and things just keep going on. But if you keep stealing and misusing money, and money keeps going into the wrong people's pockets, and the poor gets poorer and poorer and poorer, something has got to give. Something has got to give. It's like a boat, and you have 10 people on the boat, but it doesn't run efficiently. Then you put another 10 people in, you have a total of 20. And now the boat, it moves, but it rocks. And sometimes water splashes in the boat. And you keep adding people onto the boat more and more and more. That boat is going to sink at some point. They have to feed these people, clothe these people, house these people, give them medical treatment pertaining to these people. Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that? You are going to pay for it. I'm saying if that happens in this country. And it will turn around. I believe that things are going to turn around and they're going to open those damn borders all over again and nobody's going to say nothing. But the militias, the white militias, and the Klansmen, perhaps, and those who want to make America great again. Well, America's never been great, but you know what I mean, in their minds. They're going to push back. They're going to push back. But this is absolutely bananas. Check it out.
Globalist policies, including enabling mass migration. Spain and other countries who have adopted this destructive philosophy should immediately reverse course or risk their own demise. He is right, and he was right in 2016 when he said it and when he ran, wasn't he?
Yeah, President Trump is absolutely right about what's happening in Europe today. We're seeing, frankly, the future of Western civilization under threat right now.
Same thing like I said yesterday. Watch yesterday's video about Islamic fanatics. They talking about they're going to make America a Muslim country, just like the countries they came from. This is what they're talking about. This would never happen when you had the straight up racist, hard body, Klansman mentality white people in the 50s and 60s. This would have never flew. It would have never flew. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but white men and women and children, they had a different mentality in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s. They took control of what they stole. And they kept it ironclad. Now look, it's a whole different world today. A whole different world. Look at the Fauci thing. I'm going to keep stepping on that. You dumb idiots. And you know who I'm talking about. You're talking about Trump, the war. You're not even talking about Fauci and the lies and the millions of people who died, the millions who lost businesses because of the lockdowns. Or not to mention, what about the people who lost their jobs? They didn't want to take the jab based on the fake science. What about that? Very few networks are covering the Fauci hearings and the lies and the foolishness that he was promoting. Talking about the virus came from animals and it jumped from animals to humans. The mask could protect you, but now the mask don't protect you, or wear 2 and 3 masks and you'll be all right. All these lies. All these lies. How do you explain all this? It makes no sense to be this stupid. So you got migrants running rampant. Look what's happening. Look what I found next. Check this one out. I found this interesting. I found this very interesting, this one. And man, I ain't going to say nothing to me. They're hungry now that they got into the country. These are the migrants in Europe, and now they're stealing. They're going in and stealing. How many times do you see this happening in America with natural citizens and migrants at some point? And migrants. People got to eat, right? People got to eat. Look. They're purposely trying to crash this system. I'm talking about in America now. If you're talking about defund the police, how can you defund the police if you have migrants running crazy? Somebody put on the top, where's the military? Military can't control this. But the goal is, we've been saying it for over 30 years, is to crash the system and have a system ran under the authority and spirit of Satan. We've been saying this for so damn long, and it's finally starting to grow teeth, fangs, and claws. Meaning what we've been saying for so long is starting to take effect. You can't sneak in a country and don't have no shelter or no food to eat. You're going to need food, so you're going to take it. What about the honest, hardworking businessman? Where does he fit in all this? He just take an L? Or does he buy a Glock? I think that's going to be more effective. I think a lot of the merchants, whether it's Europe or America, they're going to buy Glocks, Tech 9s, and AKs. That talks louder. We definitely going to that point. People are starting to, the poor is starting to look at the rich as the enemies they are. And the rich are looking at the poor, who are unruly, as the enemy that they are. But a hungry man is truly an angry man. A hungry man that wants to feed his family and do what he needs to do to feed his family, he will stop at nothing to get food on the table. And the ones who have all the food, the ones who have all the money, they will do and stop at nothing to keep the money that they have stolen. So it's a war between good and evil. It's a war between the haves and the have-nots. It's a war between the rich and poor. Bottom line. Bottom line, that's what it is. This is in the book of Mark. What chapter is this? Mark, the 12th chapter. And now I lost my place. I suppose place. But I'm simply saying that at some point, the bottom is going to fall. It's going to fall out. It's going to fall out. And those who serve the Most High and love the Most High, they're going to be all right. But if you fight to be in this system or uphold this system, how are you going to survive? How are you going to survive? You're not going to survive. You're not going to survive at all. Where was I at? Where was I at? I forgot where I was at, man. Let me see, is this it? But you get my point. You get my point. You know, people are mad as hell. Let me cue this up while I look for that scripture, that verse. Is that one? All right, here. I like this guy, PBD. Check this out.
Go back a little bit to see this clip. Look. This is all Spain. Okay, this has all happened within 24 hours of people coming across. And by the way, you don't see families, you don't see husband and wife and kids, a lot of young men. So some are saying these were criminals that they let out, and a lot of these guys were coming through. And all of a sudden, you know, one guy's being interviewed saying, "What are you doing here?" I don't know if you have this clip. Here's one guy that's being interviewed saying, "Why did you come out here?" Look of his breakdown of why he left Morocco to go to Ceuta in Spain. Watch what he had to say. Go ahead. We can't hear it, by the way, just so you guys know. Guys, we can't hear any of it. The whole audio, everything, we can't hear any of it.
Can't hear the clip.
Connor, Jake, can you guys hear us in the back?
Oh, there's no audio?
No, the videos have audio. They're all over the place with audio. Okay, we'll give it to you guys for you guys to find.
You know what this guy's saying, Pat?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's like, why'd you come here? Why are you coming here? He's like, you know what? I was implicated in, and I just had to get away because I'm just trying to get.
How many of you remember the opening scene of Scarface? How many of you remember that? Remember the opening scene of Scarface and Cuba let all its criminals into the country and all its murderers into the country? That's what's happening to a certain degree in America and Europe. Think about it. If you had criminals that you had to feed, let's say 30,000 criminals that you had to feed, people got to pay for that. If you had 30,000 criminals that you had to take care of health-wise, people have to pay for that. So what's the best way, or what's the best business strategy to alleviate your country of taking care of criminals that you don't want in the country anyway? You let them free in other countries. Let that burden fall on America. Let that burden fall on Spain. Let that burden fall on the UK. The thing is, in America, they're arresting these same criminals and they're letting them back on the street. So people are like, what the F? The cops are like, what the F? So I'm simply saying is that you got to read between the lines. Either they try, let's examine it. Either they trying to crash the country by purposely bringing criminals into the country and not going hard body to stop them from coming into the country. And then when they get in the country, you're putting them back in the street. And then you have the left even defending their leadership, saying that leave the migrants alone. ICE is bad. The police is bad. To fund ICE, to fund the police department. But if you do that, then are the criminals are going to turn into law-abiding citizens? Are they going to turn into law-abiding citizens? I doubt that very damn much. So now, in most cases, where are these migrants shipped in place? In the black community. You saw the videos I did with the people in Chicago going nuts. They were pissed the hell off because now their food is going to migrants. Their housing is going to migrants. They got to share what they're getting with the migrants. Same thing is happening in Europe. Same thing is definitely happening in the UK. They're pissed the hell off. So either you have stupid people running the system or you have very smart people who are trying to crash the system and start a whole new system. Do away with the Constitution, do away with the current laws, and create a new Constitution and create new laws. This is what the left is talking about. They're saying they want to get rid of Congress. They want to get rid of this system. And they want to build up a socialist system where everybody eats. That's the reality.
Get out of there and try a new beginning. So you're wanted for murder and you left the freaking country that you're from. And that's what the hell that and this video right here, Pat, they're breaking people's homes. They're literally breaking into people's homes. And they're lady, we want to talk about suicidal empathy.
I do a video or do some research on sell your garment and buy a sword. Does that actually mean to buy your strap? Does that actually mean to buy your Glock? I run into numerous brothers and sisters who are buying weapons. And these are people who are not even in the faith. They see where the country is going. If black people and Hispanic people are strapping up, you think white people are not strapping up? You think patriotic white people are not strapping up and getting ready for the influx of thousands and thousands and thousands of migrants who will be hungry? You know, Trump I think it's Monday coming up, all their benefits are going to be shut down. He's purposely squeezing them out, and all their benefits are being shut down. Also, if you have a CDL and you're a migrant, shut down. Shut down. So what are they going to do? You know, what are they going to do? Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that. Drivers. He's slowly squeezing them out. That's what he's doing. He's slowly squeezing them out. Right here, look at this. The Trump administration has canceled the commercial driver's license, CDLs, of tens of thousands of undocumented immigrants and restricted temporary legal immigrants from obtaining them under a strict trucking enforcement campaign. So how are they going to eat? Huh? How are they going to eat? This is recent. The phrase Trump kills CDL drivers refers to a sweeping political and regulatory crackdown on immigrant trucking workforce rather than physical violence. President Trump has heavily restricted non-citizen drivers, claiming they are killing a lot of people in the road accidents and must be taken off the highway. It's a war. It's a war out here. They're trying to maintain an all. No, I ain't gonna say that. Let me be careful. He's trying to maintain what they have taken. I'll put it simple. Not hard to figure out, man. It really isn't. You know, we make things difficult and hard to figure out. And I'm going to stress it every once in a while, but just like our forefathers who are in power and use their power in different forms of wickedness, now the wicked is doing that even though the Most High gave them a chance. Romans 11, verse 22, which I believe is not talking about no northern Israelites versus southern Israelites. I believe those who are grafted in were the Gentiles, the heathen, the white man. So they're doing exactly what we did, even though they were given a chance. That Greco-Roman spirit never left them. They're doing even worse than their forefathers today. Mark verse 12:39 says, "And the chief seats in the synagogue and the uppermost rooms at feasts." So he saw, let me go over here to 38 verse. It says, "And he said unto them in his doctrine, beware of the scribes, which love to go in long clothing and love salutations in the marketplace." So absolute power is damning and very destructive. So you had the scribes who were part of the leadership, and you had the Pharisees who were also a part of the leadership. They love the most glorious positions. They love the positions where they can be recognized as men of honor and men of power. So they like the greetings and the salutations and the marketplaces, and they like the long, beautiful garments or clothing. You have to be careful we don't fall into that same spirit. Our Lord and King is warning us not to fall into that same spirit. The 39th verse says, "And the chief seats in the synagogue." So they want the best upper seats in the synagogues so they can be seen and people would respect them and fear them, but they were hypocrites. When you read Matthew 23, they were hypocrites and fakes. We have to be very careful not to fall into that category. So it says, "And the chief seats in the synagogues and the uppermost rooms at feasts." 40th verse, "which devour widows' houses and for pretense make long prayers, these shall receive greater damnation." See? So no good was in our leadership as well in the past. Well, at least it was at one point, but it just went down to the spirit of the devil. And I'm just simply saying that, our Lord warned us not to let this spirit get the best of us, because that spirit was in our leadership and that was destroyed. But then following that, our people were destroyed later on as well. So we have to be very careful not to do what the Gentiles do or walk in the spirit that the Gentiles walk into. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just simply trying to show you, man, is that, what we see happening today is this is the beginning of the end. This is definitely the beginning of the end, and it won't be long. It won't be long. All we have to do is stay in the spirit of the Most High and watch these devils destroy themselves. And that's what's going to happen. The poor is getting poorer every day. Check it out. One more, and I got to get to work, man. I know I'm speeding because I got to go back to work.
This distinction is not just academic. It has enormous practical consequences. Treating homelessness as primarily a mental health problem leads to policing and forced treatment rather than housing solutions. It shifts responsibility from broken economic systems onto individuals who are already under extreme and unsustainable pressure. Mental health treatment delivered without stable housing consistently fails to produce lasting results. Stabilization requires shelter first. When that order is collapsed,
Well, how are you going to... he's right, treating people, but they send them out in the streets with no shelter. I mean, how are you going to take care of people who have mental issues and you don't provide shelter for them? That don't work. So, and how are you going to flood the country with illegals when your own citizens, American citizens, have no proper health care? They don't have proper accommodations for, as far as housing is concerned. Same thing in Europe. The place is out of control.
Healthcare costs explode, and outcomes worsen for everyone involved. Homelessness does not reveal who is mentally weak. It actively manufactures mental illness through sustained instability, deprivation, and the daily grind of surviving without basic security. Homelessness is no longer a crisis confined to large urban centers. Rural counties and small towns across America are now experiencing some of the fastest percentage increases in homelessness nationwide. Yet these communities receive far less attention, funding, and media coverage than their urban counterparts. The crisis is spreading, but the response has not followed. Rural areas face a uniquely difficult set of challenges when homelessness strikes. There may be 0 emergency shelters within 50 to 100 miles of where someone loses housing. Jobs are limited and often seasonal. Medical care is scarce and hard to access without reliable transportation. When systems fail, law enforcement frequently becomes the only available response, which means criminalization rather than support. Vehicle living dominates rural homelessness in ways that differ from cities. People park along farmland edges, on forest access roads, in abandoned lots, and near industrial pull-offs. Because formal services don't exist and outreach teams are absent, people stay homeless far longer once displaced. There is no pathway back that doesn't require solving transportation, employment, and housing simultaneously with no support. Local governments in rural areas often deny the problem exists because it is not visible in a downtown core or concentrated enough to make the evening news. But schools, rural health clinics, and churches consistently report quietly rising demand for emergency assistance. Rural homelessness proves decisively that this crisis is not the product of urban policy failures or city-specific conditions. It is driven by housing math failing simultaneously across the entire country.
Can't house everybody, and the money is short. So, what do? Us as believers, we latch on to the Most High, and we pray that we don't fall into that category. One strong wind, meaning problematic wise, can put any of us back or put any of us in the streets, man. So we have to, really focus and live righteously and pray that the Most High, maintains us and our families. I don't like to see any brother or sister do bad. But at the same time, that same brother or sister, are they willing to live righteously under the guidelines and guardrails of holiness, which is in the Bible? That's what it comes down to, bottom line. You have to put on who they say call Christ. You have to put him on. And you have to walk on, and you have to walk in that spirit and do what's necessary to survive in these economic hardships. 1 Peter 3, verse 8, one more, and before I get out of here, it says, finally, be ye all of one mind. See that? Having compassion one of another. Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous. And we're going to have to learn to do that, because as time goes on, a lot of brothers are going to fall off. It might be me, it might be you. But the angry spirit days, you're going to have to try to put those behind us, because people are going to go through it, man. And you have to thank the Most High every day for what you have. You understand? I'm not saying be open-minded and have an open heart to someone who's trying to destroy you or use you or take advantage of you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to those who are in the right spirit, even though they're not in the faith or a part of the fold, but they're workable, then try to put on the spirit of Yahweh Shai as far as dealing with them. Then the 9th verse says, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but counterwise, blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. So we all are called, man, us that's in the fold, and we are going to inherit a blessing. But at the same time, we have to be very mindful of how we walk in the spirit of the Most High. We have to be very mindful, because in these hard times, it's very easy to come out of spirit. It happens to me all the time, man. And I have to catch myself and then get myself aligned back with the Most High, because the people we encounter, they have spirits on them. When I say spirits, I mean they have the devil in them, and they're very easily persuaded to do the wrong thing and come at you as a follower of Yahweh Shai, who they call Christ. They have a spirit to come at you sideways and try to bring you down to their level. So just keep that in mind for the next few months as we go forward, because it's on. It's definitely on. You understand? But that's all I got for you, brothers, today. And sisters, that's all I got for you right now. And until next time, I'll talk and see you later. I thank all you brothers and sisters for stopping by today. I appreciate you. Stay in the spirit and keep me in your prayers, and I'll do likewise. Shalom.